Noble Aspirations, The Journey of Zhang Xiaofan. A tale of loss, power, and redemption. Across the cultivation world where righteousness and darkness collide, and one boy's fate transcends sectarian lines in pursuit of truth, love, and the awakening of a soul lost between worlds. In the eastern lands ruled by cultivation and spiritual mastery, mountains stretched like spines of dragons, and clouds floated like whispers of ancient immortals. One of these sacred ranges held Qingyun Mountain, a towering, majestic landform that pierced the heavens and stood as the ancestral home of the Qingyun sect, one of the most revered and righteous cultivation sects in the world. For centuries, the Qingyun sect trained disciples to uphold justice, resist the demonic forces of chaos, and preserve the fragile balance of the human and spiritual realms. Far below this celestial mountain, nestled in the quiet hills, lay a peaceful place called Grass Temple Village. In this obscure corner of the world lived Zhang Xiaofan and Lin Jingyu, two young boys who knew nothing of the great powers that governed the fate of the realm. Their lives were filled with simplicity, climbing trees, helping elders, and chasing dreams with innocent laughter. But one stormy night, their innocence was ripped away. A massacre descended on the village with inexplicable fury. The entire population was wiped out in a bloodbath that left only two survivors, Zhang Xiaofan and Lin Jingyu. The reason for the attack remained unknown, but the destruction was absolute. News of the tragedy reached Qingyun sect, and the elders dispatched envoys to investigate. Upon finding the two boys, they decided to take them in and raise them as disciples, both out of compassion and suspicion, for such a targeted attack could not have occurred without deeper meaning. Thus began the journey of Zhang Xiaofan and Lin Jingyu into the treacherous and awe-inspiring world of cultivation. Once within the gates of Qingyun, their fates quickly diverged. Lin Jingyu, gifted with natural aptitude and clarity of mind, was chosen by the elite Dragonhead Peak. His progress was swift, and he adapted quickly to the life of a cultivator. In contrast, Zhang Xiaofan was considered average at best, clumsy with swordplay, slow to channel spiritual energy, and often overlooked. He was placed under the tutelage of Tian Buyi and his wife Shuyue on the lesser-regarded Big Bamboo Peak, where discipline was balanced with kindness. Though Big Bamboo Peak lacked prestige, it provided a home. There, Zhang Xiaofan trained diligently, refusing to let his limitations defeat him. He was mocked by fellow disciples for his lack of talent, yet he endured. His tenacity was not driven by ambition for power, but by a stubborn refusal to be forgotten or discarded. The trauma of losing everything had planted a seed in his heart. He would never again be powerless to protect those he loved. As years passed, Xiaofan discovered a strange artifact deep in the mountain's forbidden areas, a black wooden stick that felt alive in his hand. Though weathered and unimpressive in form, it exuded a strange, cold energy. Unbeknownst to him, this relic was the sinister orb in disguise, a remnant of ancient demonic power that could amplify or corrupt its wielder depending on their spirit. His contact with the artifact awakened a dormant force within him. He began to grow stronger, faster, and more perceptive, though the changes were subtle. The staff often reacted on its own, protecting him from danger, responding to emotions he couldn't control. It became both his weapon and his curse. In this new chapter of his life, Xiaofan also encountered Lu Shuiqi, a brilliant, aloof disciple of Dragonhead Peak, famed for her ethereal beauty and peerless swordsmanship. Their interactions were sparse, but their spirits recognized something in each other, an unspoken understanding rooted in solitude. Unlike others, Lu Shuiqi never mocked him. She simply watched from afar, acknowledging his silent perseverance with eyes that betrayed emotion behind her cold exterior. The peace of Qingyun was soon broken by unrest in the southern territories. Demonic factions such as the Ghost King sect and the 10,000 Poison sect began stirring, spreading plagues and fear. The righteous sects, believing a larger threat was emerging, dispatched teams of disciples to investigate. Zhang Xiaofan was selected for his spiritual growth, and Lin Jingyu and Lu Shuiqi joined the same mission. Their journey took them through devastated towns and cursed landscapes. The team encountered dangerous beasts corrupted by dark energy and bandits who worshipped ancient demons. Amid these trials, the true disparity between the righteous and demonic paths began to reveal itself to Xiaofan. He saw that cruelty existed not only in the demonic world, but also among those who claimed to uphold justice. A seed of doubt took root in his heart. During one mission, they encountered Bi Yao, a lively, fearless girl with sparkling eyes and a mischievous smile. She was the daughter of Ghost King himself, sent to observe the growing strength of the righteous sects. Though their paths were supposed to oppose each other, she and Zhang Xiaofan found themselves drawn together. She teased him, tested him, and challenged the beliefs he had inherited. Unlike others, Bi Yao treated Xiaofan as an equal, unburdened by status or sect. Her warmth and confidence stood in stark contrast to Lu Xueqi's cold detachment. Yet even Bi Yao carried her own scars, born from the weight of her father's ambitions and the legacy of the Ghost King sect. The rift between righteousness and evil continued to deepen. The Qingyun elders, suspecting an imminent demonic uprising, began unearthing ancient texts and dispatching disciples to find sacred artifacts that could strengthen their defenses. It was during these expeditions that the sinister orb's true nature came under scrutiny. Some elders noticed the power Xiaofan wielded and sensed a dark energy within him. As the scrutiny increased, Xiaofan's world began to unravel. No longer fully trusted by his sect and unsure of the force growing inside him, he began to feel isolated once more. The only ones who seemed to truly accept him were Bi Yao and his old friend Lin Jingyu, though even Lin had begun to change, growing more hardened, more aligned with sect doctrine, and more suspicious of Xiaofan's power. When Qingyun launched a critical expedition to the mythical Kongsang Mountain to uncover an ancient seal rumored to hold powerful artifacts, Zhang Xiaofan joined the mission. Deep within the mountain's labyrinthine ruins, they encountered ancient traps and horrifying creatures, guardians of a past long buried. In a pivotal moment of danger, Xiaofan unleashed the full power of the Black Staff, saving lives but revealing the dark aura that now clung to him. His actions caused a stir among the sect leaders. While some believed he had simply tapped into latent power, others whispered that he had been tainted by demonic influence. Rumors spread, and a shadow of mistrust began to darken his name. Yet before the sect could act, the world around them collapsed into chaos. The Ghost King, having watched long enough, launched his assault. With the backing of the other demonic sects, he attacked Qingyun with devastating force. The battle was catastrophic. Heaven and earth trembled as spiritual energy of the highest order clashed across mountains and skies. Beasts and demons flooded the battlefield, and cultivators fell like rain. Every disciple fought with all they had, and Zhang Xiaofan stood at the center of it all, both protector and enigma. In the final confrontation, Ghost King revealed that his goal was not only revenge against Qingyun, but also the retrieval of the sinister orb. He sought to use its power to unlock a long-sealed gate that would flood the mortal world with darkness, changing the balance of power forever. Xiaofan, realizing the artifact was the key to the untold catastrophe, tried to resist. But the power within him surged uncontrollably. As the orb's energy began to consume him, turning his spiritual veins black and suffusing him with cold rage, he was moments away from becoming the very weapon Ghost King desired. And then Bi Yao intervened. With the weight of love unspoken and tears never shed, she used a forbidden spell, one that converted her life force into a shield to block the killing blow meant for him. The force of the spell crystallized her body in a death-like slumber, suspended between life and death, sealed by a blood curse. Her final action was to save the man the world now labeled as tainted. Xiaofan collapsed beside her unmoving body, overcome with grief and rage. The very people he tried to protect now viewed him as a threat. The girl who loved him gave everything, and in the end, he failed to protect her. At that moment, something inside him broke. He disappeared from Qingyun, from the righteous world, from everything he once knew. The name Zhang Xiaofan was no longer spoken. What remained was a man with a shadowed past and a singular purpose: to find a way to awaken Bi Yao and uncover the truth behind the chaos that destroyed everything he loved, from his village, to his trust, to his heart. Thus ended the first half of his journey, a path marked by tragedy, betrayal, and the slow erosion of innocence. His next steps would take him deeper into the heart of darkness, not as a villain, but as a seeker of light hidden in shadow. After vanishing from Qingyun, Zhang Xiaofan re-emerged in the shadows of the cultivation world under a new name, Gui Li. No longer bound to the righteous sects nor fully aligned with the demonic path, he forged a path of his own. The sinister orb remained his reluctant companion, its corrupting power both a curse and a tool in his solitary quest to awaken Bi Yao from her death-like slumber. His travels took him to ancient lands, forbidden territories, and hidden realms where few dared to tread. Along the way, he encountered wandering cultivators, rogue sects, and spiritual beasts who either sought the orb's power or feared it. As Gui Li, he grew stronger, colder, and more enigmatic. His fame spread like a ghost story. Some hailed him as a fallen hero, others as a growing threat. Yet amidst this turmoil, Xiaofan held on to the memory of Bi Yao. Her sleeping form, sealed within the Ghost King's sanctum, became the compass for his journey. He began studying lost texts and forbidden scrolls to find a way to break the blood curse. His investigations led him to uncover shocking truths about the origins of the sinister orb, the sect's hidden agendas, and the ancient war that had birthed the divisions of good and evil. He learned that the massacre of Grass Temple Village had not been random. The villagers were descendants of a forgotten clan entrusted with guarding one of the original spiritual seals that suppressed the true power of the sinister orb. Ghost King's forces had hunted them to lift the seal, and Xiaofan, unknowingly, had inherited the legacy of this lineage. His survival had not been luck. It was destiny. Meanwhile, the cultivation world remained divided. Qingyun attempted to restore order, but dissent brewed within. Elders debated whether Zhang Xiaofan should be hunted or pitied. Lu Xueqi, whose icy exterior hid a storm of emotions, struggled with her memories of Xiaofan. Though she never betrayed her sect, she quietly followed whispers of his sightings, hoping to find him before others did. Ghost King, grieving yet relentless, continued his campaign. Though his daughter lay dormant, his ambition only grew. He began seeking ancient ruins to complete the resurrection ritual that could awaken her not as she was, but as a new entity fused with the orb's demonic spirit. This revelation horrified Xiaofan. He could not allow Bi Yao to become a vessel for darkness. To stop the ritual, Xiaofan had to gather 3 keys forged by immortal cultivators during the primordial war between righteousness and evil. Each key was hidden in sacred or cursed locations, protected by trials designed to test heart, strength, and soul. The first key lay in the ruins of Heaven Sound Temple, buried under centuries of silence. There, Xiaofan faced a guardian spirit who forced him to relive every failure, every death he could not prevent. Only by acknowledging his guilt without letting it consume him did he pass the trial and claim the key. The second key was held by a once holy beast corrupted by greed and pride, now residing in the sorrowful marsh. The battle was fierce, but Xiaofan spared the beast, offering purification instead of destruction. This mercy reminded him of Bi Yao's compassion and affirmed his desire not to become what the world feared. The final key was in the Valley of Mirrors, where illusions tested identity. In this realm, he saw visions of what he could have become: a Qingyun elder, a demonic tyrant, or a forgotten soul. Each version tempted him, but he chose none. In rejecting them, he embraced the ambiguity of his journey. With all 3 keys, he raced toward the Ghost King sect's underground sanctum, where the resurrection was already in motion. The Ghost King, blinded by grief, believed awakening Bi Yao through demonic force was an act of salvation. He never saw the quiet agony in his daughter's face before she fell. Xiaofan arrived just as the ritual neared completion. A final battle erupted. The Ghost King, wielding forbidden magic and madness, clashed with Xiaofan, who now mastered both demonic and spiritual techniques. The sanctuary trembled with divine wrath as the sinister orb fought to possess them both. Xiaofan, overwhelmed by the orb's hunger, faced the same choice that had once broken him: to surrender or to resist. In that moment, Bi Yao's sealed form emitted a faint glow. Her spirit, even in sleep, reached for Xiaofan. It gave him clarity. He turned the orb inward, severing its link to his veins, sacrificing a portion of his soul to seal it anew. The backlash nearly killed him, but it shattered the ritual. Ghost King was defeated, not by power, but by the undeniable truth that his daughter had chosen a path of love, not vengeance. He fell to his knees, a ruler undone by the very thing he had tried to control. The temple collapsed, but Xiaofan carried Bi Yao to safety. Though still asleep, her breath had returned, faint, fragile, but real. The blood curse was broken, though she had not awakened fully. The cultivation world reacted with disbelief. Some demanded Xiaofan's death, while others now saw him as a tragic hero. Qingyun sect, under pressure, chose silence. Lin Jingyu, torn between duty and loyalty, visited Xiaofan in secret and offered no judgment, only understanding. Lu Xueqi arrived too, long after the dust had settled. She watched from a distance, unable to reach him, and chose instead to leave behind a jade ornament, the only token of the friendship they had never been able to name. Zhang Xiaofan, now once again bearing his original name, walked away from the battlefield. The world would go on debating his place in it, but his path was his alone. He carried Bi Yao with him, not as a burden, but as a vow. Her sleep was not an end, but a beginning. Thus ended the first great chapter of his story, a tale not of triumph, but of perseverance. In the blurred lines between righteousness and evil, Zhang Xiaofan became a symbol of choice, of struggle, and of the fragile nobility that can still exist in the darkest of places.